works, clear to play.
Hi, this is Matthew from miniwargaming.com, and welcome back to another episode in the series of an introduction to Warhammer 40k. This is another how to play Warhammer 40k. We're going to have a bit of fun here though. You've already seen a squad of Space Marine tactical squad against a group of Termagants. You've already seen a Terminator squad against Chaos Space Marines. Now you're going to see a large squad of Space Orcs. These are going to be Ork Boyz led by a Knob against, well, you'll see in a second. Here we have the group of Ork Boyz led by an Ork Knob with a Power Claw, which is basically a good weapon in close combat. And they are facing off none other than a Tyranid Carnifex. Carnifex is one of their large, monstrous creatures that just lumber into combat. They can take a lot of hits. They have multiple wounds. They have a high strength, a high toughness, and they're very good. Now, the Carnifex is at a slight disadvantage in some sense because he only has so many attacks, so he can only kill so many Space Orcs in a turn. But he has a rather large advantage with the fact that he not only can regenerate lost wounds, but he has multiple wounds, and it's not easy for the Orcs to inflict those. So we're going to give first turn to the Space Orcs. Now, Orcs, like the Khorne Berserkers you saw in the last video, have Furious Charge. So they really want to be the one to charge. But we're going to see if they're going to be able to do that. So they're going to start in their movement phase by moving up their 6 inches. Because their weapons, their pistols are not really long range. They're only 12-inch range. So we want to make sure to get as many into firing range as possible. So in the shoot phase, we'll see how many are in range. The guy in the back is not within 12 inches. These guys are. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, which can fire. So we're going to roll 11 dice. Now the Orcs are really bad at shooting. So Space Marines get to roll 3+ to hit. Tyranids normally get to roll 4+, but these Space Orcs have to roll 5 or higher to hit. So let's see if they can do it. So they managed to hit only 3. These guys just don't know how to aim a pistol. On top of that, the toughness of the Carnifex is so high that they have to roll a 6 just to hurt the Carnifex. And they only roll 1s and 2s, which doesn't hurt them at all. So their shooting phase is done. Now they're going to see if they can charge. Looks like they're just out of range, which is going to suck for them because the Carnifex is going to get to bound in. So now it's the Carnifex's turn. He's going to move forward 6 inches. Now he also has a special bioplasma attack. These things that I've given him are all upgrades, so each Carnifex is actually different. But I've armed him with bioplasma, which basically he screams out a bunch of plasma and it explodes on his target for a very high strength and ignores pretty much all armor. So he's going to fire it as a small blast template right here. So like the rocket launcher in our first how to play video, we have to roll a scatter die to see where it goes. Looks like we're going to get a direct hit. So he covers 3 Orcs. So he's going to roll 3 dice to see how many he wounds. Now it's a high enough strength that he only has to roll 2 or higher. And he only kills 2 of them. So with his screaming, he destroys 2 of them. That's his shoot phase. And now in the assault phase, he is going to charge in. Now he's clearly within 6 inches, so I'm just going to charge him up. And then the Orcs will countercharge. So they move up 6 inches just to pile into the fight. Now Orcs, like Tyranids, are a horde army, so you generally get a lot of them. But in this case I brought in a Carnifex, so there's not a lot of Tyranids. So we have to check to see who fights first, and once again we look at initiative. Now a Carnifex has an initiative of 1 because he's so slow. But he also has a special rule which allows him to get +2 initiative when he charges. Unfortunately, however, I gave him an upgrade which brings him back down to initiative 1 because it gives him extra attacks. So he's going to be initiative 1. The Orcs, on the other hand, all have initiative 2. Finally, the Knob, because he has a Power Claw, only has an initiative of 1. So he's actually going to fight at the same time as the Carnifex. So all the boys get to go first, and then the Knob and the Carnifex will attack at the same time. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 boys. And they have 3 attacks each. So 14 times 3 is 42. So let's get 42 dice to attack. Now the Orcs are actually slightly better than the Carnifex in close combat, so they only have to roll 3s to hit him. Although I see a lot of 1s and 2s in there, so I'm going to remove those. Now, they're not very high strength, and the Carnifex is rather tough, so they need to roll 6s or higher, and in this case that's only 6s, in order to wound him. But they still got a lot of hits, so they have a good chance of rolling 6s. In fact, they rolled a lot of 6s. They rolled an incredibly large amount of 6s. They rolled 10 6s. The Carnifex gets his armor save of 3+. And he fails only 2 of them. So he loses 2 of his 4 wounds. We're going to mark that with a small die. So we'll put 2 beside him to show how many wounds he has. Now the Carnifex and the Knob attack at the same time. Let's do the Knob first. He's got 4 attacks. He hits on a 3. And he misses 2 of his attacks. Now his Power Claw is nice and strong, so it only needs a 2, and it ignores the 3+ save of the Carnifex. But he only manages to do 1 wound, so the Carnifex stays alive. So you can see that those boys could actually take out this Carnifex. Now the Carnifex gets to hit back. Because of his special crushing claws, he has 4 plus D3 attacks. A D3 is just half of a D6, so you roll a D6, and a 1 or a 2 is a 1, a 3 and a 4 is a 2, and a 5 and a 6 is 3. So let's see how many attacks he gets. Oh, it looks like he's getting 3 extra attacks. So he gets 4 attacks plus 3, so that's 7, plus 1 for charging. So he gets 8 attacks by himself. Now he has to roll a 4 or higher, but because he has Scything Talons, he gets to re-roll any of the 1s. So you can see there's a bunch of extra special rules we're playing with here. So he hit with 5 of them, there's a 2 there, and he gets to re-roll the 1s. And he rolls 1 more hit. So he manages to hit 6. So he's a really high strength. He's got a strength of 9 as opposed to the Orc strength of 3. And he's going against their really low toughness, comparatively speaking. And so he's going to wound them on a 2+, and he ignores their armor too. Looks like all 6 of them wounded, and he ignores their armor. So 6 orcs die. Now we're going to add something in here that's not normally done. It's called combat resolution. Basically what you do is you compare how many wounds were inflicted on both sides, unsaved wounds. We got 6 on the orc side and 3 on the Tyranid side. So 6 orcs died and 3 wounds were taken. So the Tyranid won that combat by 3, 6 minus 3. So what happens when he wins a combat is the opposing side needs to roll for their leadership. And they subtract from their leadership how much they lost by. Now in the case of orcs, they have a special rule that their leadership is equal to how many boys there are in the squad. And since there are 9 left, they have a leadership of 9. We subtract a 3, which brings them down to 6. And we have to roll 2 dice, and we have to roll equal to or lower than their leadership, otherwise they're going to run. So let's see what happens. And they roll a 5, so they stick around for the fight, even though the Carnifex is bearing down on them. Now it is the orcs' turn. So we enter the assault, and because they can't move and shoot, we just go straight back into the assault. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, times 3 attacks each. So they're going to get 21 attacks. And they hit on 3s. It's not a bad roll, only a few missed. But then they need 6s to wound. They managed to get 2 6s. Carnifex only has 1 wound left, so if he fails his saves, he's dead. So 3+ save. And he makes both of them. Then we have the Knob with a Power Claw. He gets to attack. He attacks at the same time as the Carnifex, so if he kills the Carnifex here, the Carnifex still gets to hit back. So let's see what happens. He has to roll 3s. He misses 1. And now he needs to roll 2 or higher. Oh, looks like he only manages to do 1 wound, but that's enough to kill the Carnifex. But before the Carnifex dies, he gets to hit back. So let's see how many attacks he gets, because he gets to roll D3. And he gets another 3 plus the 4. So he gets 7 attacks again. He needs to roll 4 or higher. He gets to re-roll 1s. These 2 miss. Get to re-roll these 1s. And manages to hit all 5. And he needs 2s to kill. and all 5 of them kill. So 5 more orcs go down as the Carnifex dies as well. So even though the Carnifex died, he rampaged through that squad and killed most of the orcs. All that's left is the orc knob and 3 of his boys. It looks like he killed probably 12 or 13 of the Ork Boyz. I hope that you enjoyed this one. That was more just for fun, a Carnifex versus a group of boys. Carnifex is really good in close combat, but so are the boys, and you can see that eventually the Carnifex was taken down by all of the boys swarming around it. So this has been the 3rd, I believe, so far of our series of how to play Warhammer 40k. Again, if you want to get a more in-depth how to play or see how the game really comes together, then watch our Warhammer 40k battle reports where we feature full games of Warhammer 40k. We'll put a link right below this video. It'll be for our show, which is the 40k battle reports. You can click on the 40k history series below, which will go over the various histories of different races in the Warhammer 40k universe. This is Matthew from Mini Wargaming, and I will see you in the next video.
Visit miniwargaming.com to see our videos 1 month early.